morning or good afternoon even.
Yeah, it's afternoon.
My today's guest is Marcin Żmigrodzki, an author, consultant, and longtime project management practitioner. He won PMI award 6 times. I don't know if it was in a row but 6 times is...
Almost. No, not in a row. There were some gaps, unfortunately.
But 6 times is a pretty good achievement, so congratulations on that. The most important thing, I believe, that took us here was that we've met with Marcin regarding his book that he is writing now. The book is considering project management, but in the field that interests us design houses the most, like hardware design project management. And we are going to talk about a little bit about project management as a profession and how different it is to lead projects in the hardware space rather than in IT space. Am I correct?
Yep, certainly.
Cool. So maybe we should start with the simple question with the hard answer. What exactly is a project?
Well, theoretically speaking, project is a time-framed endeavor, which is uncertain to some kind. So it must be progressively estimated, planned, done, coordinated, changed, and so on to achieve the best possible results. Compared to other activities done by human, like processes, for example, we assume that because we don't know everything about the project, we start with rather low knowledge about this investment. We assume that we need to discover what and how it can be achieved. And it's better for us to assume that it will end someday. It's contrary to processes, because process can be run on an ongoing basis. As long as we have need, demand, or money, we can repeat processes. Projects are less risky if that they are not creeping, if they have a deadline. Usually this deadline can be prolonged, but at least we have to agree on some estimates.
Okay.
We as human species do projects for about 20,000 years. So we have quite experience, and most of the time we did it in a waterfall way. And about 20 years ago, we started thinking differently. We started thinking about shortening time to market period. And this is how, among others, Agile approach was created and adopted by thousands of companies and teams. So now we have 2 approaches, but that's not all. In the meantime, parallelly to Agile project management, we developed project optimization approach, which says that in order to optimize a process, we need to run a project, and we do it in a specific way. There are 2 main methodologies called Lean and Six Sigma.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one, which is the main topic of the book you mentioned, is called, it doesn't have one name, but I call it exploratory projects. Some call it discovery projects. And there are many other names of this approach. And which the aim of this approach is to discover something, to discover how market works, how technology works, or how science works.
Sure. It's I can recall one definition of technology exploration from NASA. It was TRL scale, I believe. but it's a topic for another day. But they approached project management or technology exploration in some steps, and I believe that exploratory or discovery projects have something in common. You've mentioned that there are a lot of different flavors or different names for the basically or mostly the same approach, like having something or some knowledge that you could then forge into a service or a product, but you need to run a project that is a highly risky endeavor. So you have to have a frame, like how to approach this project. Can you tell something about what is the main difference in these kind of projects, like exploratory or discovery projects, rather than the projects that are usual in the IT space, where the agile methods are pretty common now, or difference between projects like building a house from the waterfall scenario?
Okay, so there are multiple differences. The first one is that agile or waterfall projects are mostly deterministic, meaning that at a certain moment we only have one plan, one vision for it. One set of scope, one set of tasks. If we are in waterfall mode, we have a schedule with dates. If we are in agile approach, we have estimates for sprints. And of course, we can change our mind during projects, so we can adjust some change requests, implement some change requests to the scope. But then again, we have another deterministic plan, one scenario till the end.
Okay.
It can be volatile, but at a given moment of time, it's only one. In discovery projects, we have a tree of hypotheses. And one of the most significant exploratory projects I have met is Manhattan Project. I'm currently reading memoirs of the General Groves who led it. And they started with a tree. I have a drawing, if you want, I can show it to you, where they put set of hypotheses. They selected the most promising path of choosing the right radioactive material, of choosing the right construction of a bomb, and so on. But they had also other scenarios which were developed in parallel. The reason for this was that they are chasing time because they wanted to win the war, and they were afraid that Japan or Germany will acquire such bomb sooner. And another reason for this in other projects, not winning any war, is that we learn faster. If we explore even secondary path, we acquire some insights about how it works, and it can help us to develop the primary path. On the other hand, if we explore secondary path and the primary path will become dead end, we can quickly switch to the other one. So I figured out that many discovery projects give priority to time over cost, quality, or scope. Because we want to release new products to the market as soon as we can. We want to test the prototype as soon as we can, because if it's not promising, if it doesn't work, we have to get rid of it and start another prototype with different technology. We want to innovate as soon as we can, because our competition does it usually very quickly. So this is the first difference. Another difference is mindset of a team member. Those people involved in discovery efforts are usually internally motivated. And it was very striking for me when I took about 80 interviews during my preparation for the book. And most of them told me about their motivation, which I identified as internal factors. It can be mission. We want to win the war. Yes, it's very strong motivation. But we can, for example, help protect people's health, for example, or we want to protect natural environment. This is another example of mission. Another example of why people are motivated is because we like to work with those people, with this team, because we have strong relationship to them. Another example, and there is great atmosphere, great work atmosphere. Another example of internal motivation is that I want to learn. I want to play with very sophisticated toys, with advanced technology. Sometimes I will break it, but it's not my money, and I will learn a lot based on it. And in normal projects, I would not have such opportunity to advance so quickly in my competence as a professional, to discover new things. And one day, I want to realize that I am one of the top scientists, top engineers in the field. Yes, thanks to doing such projects.
Sure.
So becoming professional, becoming master in my area is one of crucial motivating factors. Another thing is that exploratory teams are rather small. Most of them were half of size of typical Scrum team. I have met multiple teams which contained 2 people, for example, 2 project team or 5. There were some bigger. Manhattan project was far bigger, but it was totally different investment.
Probably the recent one, because Apple announced that they are killing the project of their autonomous car, I believe.
Yeah, they killed it. Yeah.
So this might be an example of exploratory project that
Yeah.
was a high risk, and it finally didn't end like with a happy ending. Like the project is done, but the project is over. I am just wondering how many people did work on that project.
I don't know. I need to find out, but I don't know. Other projects which are famous currently and they brought success is projects from new space area like SpaceX, where they experiment, test, launch, and do it totally opposite to classical waterfall approach, which dominated the space industry. But going back to differentiating factors, another difference is leadership. Innovative leadership is kind of different. Firstly, it's usually transformative leader who needs to make the change. It's not administration, it's leading the change. Usually innovative leaders are very technical, and it's opposite to common sense. I hear or read on LinkedIn or other sites on the internet that leader may focus on social activities. No, it's not true. Most of successful innovation leaders were deeply technical or were at least interested in technology. I can give you Steve Jobs, who wasn't technical, but was interested in how digital cameras work, how operating system works, and so on. One of the best examples is Thomas Edison, who created their own inventions by himself with the team, working at night, sleeping in the workshop, and so on. And another thing is managerial style. I have noticed that those leaders are quite often not nice people. They are sometimes very autocratic. They are sometimes even psychopath. As you read about their CV, about how they treated their colleagues, but they are highly motivated. And I coined the term that innovative leader should wear 2 hats. One hat refers to servant leadership, when everything go according to plan, when we have clear vision and we stick to it. Such leader can become a servant leader. So he or she doesn't intervene. He delegates most of responsibilities to the team. Just observe. But then one day something happens. I called it how to say it in English, tipping point. Maybe tipping point.
Okay.
At the moment when everything changes, where pivot point.
Pivot point. Yeah.
Pivot point is better. And at that moment, leader changes its head to autocratic leader and makes very fast and autocratic usually decision. Okay, we need to switch. We need to change the direction because I stopped believing in this idea. Now I believe in this idea. And it happens usually, for example, in startups during early funding, when we have a founder with strong vision of what the future service product will be, and the team following him. And this founder, until he believes the current vision of the product, he led his people to do the job, and he is supportive. But then one day, when he realizes, for example, that competition did something similar but sooner, and direction must be changed, he will make decision within an hour or even sooner. If he's a good leader, he'll explain the rationale behind it. If not, he'll just do it.
Yeah.
But it's quicker than organizing retrospective, discussing, voting, and so on. Nobody does it.
Yeah.
Because you need to change direction when you need to change direction, and that's it.
There's no time for that bullshit talk. Let's say it.
Yeah. And there are some weaknesses regarding this two heads style, because during servant leadership phase, team become empowered. They believe they have authority to make all the decisions, and suddenly someone come like leader and tells them, no, stop doing this. This was sorry. It's not promising. It will not bring benefits to us. Here are new bricks, new area. You must switch to this direction and run again. So they may oppose. They may have fear of losing control over the project because it was their project. So everything relies on the style it is done by the leader. If he explains, if he has trust in among his people,
that's what I thought, that the trust is
crucial,
the most important value in the team. So maybe that's why the team is small, so that the trust is easier to build.
I think the reason the team is small is competence, because in very innovative projects you need to have highly skilled experts in their areas, because they need to discover something new. It wasn't done before. We need to do it for the first time in the world, even sometimes. So we need highest possible competencies. And it's hard to make discoveries and coordinate them with a huge team of people. You can easily coordinate 200 workers on a construction site, because you know what to do each day. You know what tasks to delegate and what tasks to control. You cannot do it when you don't have a plan. You only discover it day by day, and you let people play with it. So the thing is that you can increase the team if uncertainty level decreases, and you can provide them with the plan, and you don't need such high skills to continue with our work until they discover. Well, it's hard to coordinate in such chaos.
So one thing comes in front of the differences between, so to say, regular projects and discovery projects, that you don't only need a lot of people to make tedious tasks just to make things done, but you've got to have a team that cooperates in totally different manner. Like they are, each of the project member or a team member is a solo guy that has to work in a team to achieve something bigger. But each of them is highly skilled expert in the field that the project
and sometimes
requires.
they don't understand with each other, with other team members, because they are in different areas.
Yeah.
And this is also the problem. So they are like a set of wizards casting their own spells
Uh-huh.
and not understood by other team members, or like bunch of Doctor Houses from TV series
Yeah.
with sometimes high ego, very deep competence, skills, but also very narrow. Yeah,
Okay.
it's hard to manage them.
So how about I think that one question comes to my mind clearly. How is the communication different in regular projects, like we know them for years or hundreds of years even? And how about the communication in such an expertise filled environment with people that mostly don't want to speak with people?
Yeah.
How to manage them in terms of communication?
I believe there is less communication in such projects than in a typical waterfall or agile project. In agile project, we assume that it's only assumption, theoretical assumption, but we assume that every team member can take any task from the backlog. Their competencies are overlapping. Yes, we assume that as a team they can estimate all of the tasks, and it makes sense. In exploratory projects, it doesn't make sense if I don't know about, for example, electronics or software development to estimate how long will it take, because it's not my area. So I noticed that they communicate less. I even noticed that they prefer to communicate over IT tools like Discord, Slack, and other software tools, other software, instead of just speaking. I met one team who worked in the same room, desk by desk, and they were communicating on Slack because it was easier for them to write a comment, then get back to their work, and after an hour to answer another question. It was asynchronous, so I didn't need to respond at the moment I received the question, so I could close, for example, my chain of thought, come to conclusions, and then swap to discussion board and answer. So they communicate less. They need to be encouraged to communicate as well, and because there is a problem of knowledge management in such teams, and many of such team members, especially in technology area, how to say it, are very passive regarding their social skills. I don't know if it's proper term. They
Like a
are
social
not
awkward sometimes
also, yeah.
is the term.
So establishing and making stronger relations with other people is not that crucial as for average society member.
Okay.
So they need to be sometimes encouraged to talk to each other. Yes, for example, to ask questions, to coordinate their work, and this is where the leader should come, because in agile team, for example, we don't expect to have a manager. We have a team. We have Scrum Master who encourages us to do Scrum. We have owner who brings requirements, but we don't have manager. Understand as a typical managerial role, decision-making role.
Yeah.
In exploratory projects, we need a manager because we need someone who will show the direction and who will closely monitor if everyday work leads us there. Yes, if we hope that it will lead us there. If not, if we have this pivot point, this pivot moment, he needs to intervene in the project and make quick decision.
Okay. So
And make them talk to each other about it. Yeah.
sure. So maybe to recap that,
Sorry.
because we've got a good flow about the exploratory projects, but I think that there is one special moment about this talk that we could assume or we could extract from this talk, that we are speaking of scientists, like the projects that are only at the scientific level, that we have to imagine a new technology or we have to discover something new. It's all about science, but I don't want to some misunderstanding for our listeners, because I believe that exploratory projects are also projects that are using the current technologies to make something new.
Yes, exactly.
Where we
It's
know,
reconfiguration sometimes.
yes, it's reconfiguration. It's using something that we know in different space and adopt this technology, material, anything. It could be possibly anything into another solution that could be brought to life. So, recapping that, the second thing I wanted to mention, I believe, was there are not only social awkward people, because in this because we focused a little bit on this kind of a specialist that is somehow difficult to work with, but has extraordinary abilities in terms of his knowledge, skills, technical skills, and anything else. But I think that we shouldn't focus this much. I believe that we've got a lot of different people in this area, but a rule of thumb is that we certainly will find these kind of people in such projects. This is maybe...
Sorry. Yeah, I know it's a cliche.
Yeah. But I also don't want to scare people about exploratory projects that you will have to work with such people. But you will for sure meet these kind of people if you want to achieve something extraordinary, because you've got to find people not by their appearance, not by their overall social skills, but you've got to directly point the skills into the problem that you want to solve. So
you're right.
Something different.
To introduce you to exploratory or discovery projects area, there are for sure some scientific projects, and even science sometimes is not done this way. I have seen teams which did science in a waterfall way, because the financing institution needed this, needed papers, needed very specific documentation. But in this family of exploratory projects, you can find startups, especially at an early stage, when they try to find their product market fit, and they explore possibilities of new products, new customers, and so on. We find hardware projects when a team wants to discover if this technology can be applied to this problem. And sometimes it's a matter of reconfiguration of existing bricks and putting them in a different set and checking out if it works. We also have software projects there. For example, AI development projects, where we usually know what algorithms are available on the market, but we don't know if they can achieve proper quality of computations.
What results can we expect from these algorithms?
Yeah. And especially in big organizations, we also have sometimes new product development projects when we have an offer, but we want to release something new to a new segment of customers or to existing customers, but we are not sure if it will sell. So we want to conduct a series of experiments on these customers. And I have met such projects in banking sector, in generally speaking, finance sector, for example. So I think that exploratory projects are a matter of approach, of how you try to get knowledge and to solve your problems. And in traditional project management, you assume that you know the future. You assume that you see the vision, the final goal, the final result, and you try to get there. In exploratory project, you say, well, I don't know, but it's curious. Let's find out. Let's conduct a set of experiments on hardware, on software, on market, on science, to find out what we know about it and what else can be delivered in this area, creative in this area.
Okay. So let's drop a bomb now. I want to ask about the cost of a project and the exploratory one, because this always shows up eventually, because we can talk about our ideas. Someone says that ideas are cool, but they are worthless unless they are done as a product or as a service. So ideas that are only in our heads are simply nothing. But we have to make them real, and to make them real, we need a team. We need money, and we were talking about when we were preparing to this talk about different funding methods for projects, because usually it is pretty obvious that you want to know how much will my idea cost to introduce it to the market, and we as project people or designers or anyone that is involved in this process for years knows that it's not an easy answer. We cannot answer simply, well, it will take 1 year, it will bring 10 people on a payroll, it will take about $10,000 per month for prototyping, and that's it. You've got the budget. It's much more complicated. Can you tell something to maybe not clarify this thing? Because I'm pretty sure that we won't cover all the possibilities to how to approach the financing of a project. But what are the key factors to consider when approaching this kind of project, like the exploratory one, of course?
This problem of financing or cost control of such projects has multiple levels, because the first one is that our knowledge of how creativity and innovativeness in humans work says that if people don't feel that they have financial support of the organization, they will cut the ideas out. They will eliminate, reduce creative ideas they have in mind, because they don't trust, they don't believe that they will be financed. So we need resources to make people creative. Otherwise, they don't see the point of spending effort of coming out with new ideas. Another level of problem is mindset of so-called scientists or people involved in creative problems, and mindset of managers. Managers have time-based mindset. They plan budgets per quarter, per year. They need to have estimates, how much will it cost for the next year to construct something. And this is how especially big organizations work. They need budgets and they need timelines.
And they want the return of investment as soon as possible.
Yeah, ROI and so on, of course. If you have budget and timeline, you can count anything. Yeah? Excel accepts anything. But Excel doesn't take into account reliability, probability that this result will be achieved. Yeah?
True.
And people involved in innovations, they have, I have to say, discovery framed mindset, meaning that they think of passing time from discovery to discovery. Sometimes it takes 2 days to discover something huge, and sometimes it takes half a year. Yeah? And for people involved in innovations, it doesn't matter so much that another week have passed if we are onto something. Yeah? And literature, research papers I have found indicate that these different mindsets can bring multiple conflicts to creating innovations. For example, it can bring less quality innovations because scientists or engineers are told to stop creating because this is the end of the year and we must release something because our shareholders expect that something will be released by the end of the year. So there is another problem with thinking of what time is. And another thing is that if we deal with uncertain things, innovative things are uncertain, it's hard to estimate because it's hard to tell that constructing atomic bomb, for example, or I have another great example, the GBU 28, which was a bomb which ended Iraqi war, another bomb, another war, and was created in a couple of weeks. Nobody knew how much would it cost, but the pressure on success was so huge that they got investment. So the question should be changed with exploration. What will be lost opportunity cost if you don't do this? Yeah.
Okay.
And we have multiple companies which didn't follow the market, which couldn't take the same pace as their competition, and they no longer exist. Yeah. From the most known ones are Nokia, Polaroid, Kodak, and many others.
They do exist, but in a completely different way that we knew as consumers, right. Because Nokia is quite well-established company now.
But not in also, yes, you're right. In mobile phones, not in mobile phones,
but they are not in mobile phones.
Networks. Yeah, they changed the business. But very familiar for their best products for at their times.
That's
correct. And then they need to escape the original market to other ones. Yeah,
that's correct.
Sorry, so for misunderstanding, you're right. And Kodak does exist, but does something else and doesn't have such strong position.
Yes, they do as well. I think that one other example might be TDK. They were making the best magnetic cassettes. I do still remember them, but I'm pretty obvious that for some magnetic memory things like not the compact disc, how was it called? Diskette? I don't know if it's in English the same. Discs?
Floppy drives.
Floppy drive, yeah. I've heard some story that a child approached a guy that had this floppy disk on his desk, and he asked him simply, "Oh, you've printed out the save icon."
Yeah. Accidentally, they look the same.
Yes.
And another question regarding future is what will happen to Apple, because they didn't bring any spectacular result in AI. They stopped working on autonomous cars. They released product, how is it called, this Google glasses, Vision Pro glasses.
Vision Pro, yeah.
Yeah, Vision Pro. And there are mixed feelings about
the reviews are pretty bad, unfortunately, because the spatial computing was a term that raised expectations, I believe, but the impact that it had was not so big. But still, I think that they are one of the unicorns. I'm not saying about the startup unicorns, of course. I'm saying about that they are still a hardware company, because when we are comparing Apple to Microsoft, or for example, or Apple to OpenAI, which is a part of Microsoft, because we are talking about AI for now, for a little bit of time. I'm still thinking of it like it's a pretty different company. Like they are not only doing software and software tools.
Probably, and so this is the reason why Samsung has foldable screens in their mobile phones and Apple not.
Yeah, they are not innovating this much as people around or companies around. And I'm still wondering, how is that possible that they are not innovating this much or using such components that are new, but they are rather adopting to what people like. They are simply making it a little bit differently and still doing pretty good. But I think that it's a very unique company still on the market. However,
we'll see.
people usually compare their ideas to Apple because we want to be like Apple or we want this product to look like Apple in this area. I am always shaking my head like, oh my God, do you have this much budget to release the product
You're right.
in such a quality? Because the quality and the final price that Apple takes from us doesn't go from nowhere. If we see how complicated or how over-engineered this Apple Vision Pro might be, we already know that this can't cost less than it costs now. But let's leave this topic. We were talking a little bit about theory because projects, methodologies, where exploratory projects are pretty good to be applied to solve some problems that didn't exist, or to deliver something new to the market. This is something that we do on our day-to-day basis because we are designing new products. So we are designing the future, and we take different approaches. We've got product development process. We've got some tools that enable us to bring new products to life. But is there anything that was written or that was tested among not only small companies like ours, but maybe something bigger? I remember that we were mentioning DARPA or any other US-based companies, and I remember this term like set-based concurrent engineering, because this is something that is a practical approach on how to approach a discovery project. And what does it mean? How to make some steps, because you already know that if you want to make something new, you have to do it in steps. You have to learn something new. This is something also very important, because you are not only doing things, because you are always learning something new and apply this knowledge to develop the project. So what is this approach, or what are other approaches to maybe not be certain or sure that you will deliver, but how to start and ask questions all the time if we are closer to our initial idea, or should we pivot? Because we have to know something more before we do pivot, because if we pivot because we know that we have to know from somewhere when to do it. I know it's pretty philosophical, but maybe this will clarify some for someone, hopefully even one of our listeners will know something more, it's pretty cool. But maybe it will clarify for all the audience that listens to us how to approach these projects.
Okay. So at first, I mean, for the first 2 years of writing the book, this knowledge about exploratory projects was quite patchwork, like one of the attendants of my trainings described it after the training. It was like a puzzle, which was not creating one picture. I tried to synthesize these insights, and came up with an idea of, firstly, project life cycle. I'll describe it in a moment, and then how organizations should support such projects to make them effective. Regarding life cycle, I even went to one of the biggest hackathons in Europe, Hackier, to observe innovative people doing something innovative in a short period of time, because they had, I think, 2 days. And such a project usually consists of a couple of phases. The first phase is the phase when we need to state what we want to achieve. What is our main hypothesis? For example, that we want this device to work. We want this group of customers to buy something. We want to discover a certain dependency in science, like, I don't know, medicine. So we give a general goal. Then, and it's not that obvious for other projects, knowledge collection phase starts when team members start to read books, articles, I don't know, blogs on the internet, everything that is available at that moment. Yes, just not reinvent the wheel during the project. And for example, in software, there are multiple sources of knowledge. Because software cannot be patented, so you can publish your conclusions. And there is Kaggle, Paper with Codes, and many others. Stack Overflow, which describes simple, more smaller technical problems, and many others, like Medium and so on.
Maybe that's the answer, that ChatGPT can write a code, but cannot design its 3D object in CAD.
Yeah.
But
for the moment, yes.
And for the moment, of course.
But I'm full of hopes. And
Me too.
We don't have so many of such knowledge bases available on hardware market, because the hardware can be patented. So this knowledge is usually restricted. So you collect all the knowledge possible. If you work in a corporation, you should ask multiple of your colleagues, did they do something similar before? If there is internal knowledge base in the company, you should browse it and search for insights. Then, if you have all the knowledge available, you can read ResearchGate, which contains thousands of research papers on various topics and so on. When you have collected all knowledge that is available for you as a team, another phase starts, which I called structuring phase. You try to structure your problem into smaller components. So, for example, if you do a hardware project, you structure it to different industry areas, like electronics, embedded software, packaging, and so on. Yeah, you know it better than me because you're a specialist. I'm just writer. And if you do the software, you decompose it into different algorithms. And usually the structuring refers to skills of team members. So when you structure it, you can delegate each thread, each main component to specific people. Yeah. So
this is important. This is important to even bold it in the text or bold it in the talk. Like
I bold it, I underline it.
Usually the structure is based on the skills of your team. Yep. So it's not an easy task to translate from one team to other, because the tasks and the approach might be different. But you've said that if you want to do the structure, you are starting simple with the basic idea and the facts about this problem that you want to solve. So with that, you can go to different teams and see what are their approaches. Am I correct?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
So it's time for acquiring knowledge, sharing knowledge, asking questions, and so on.
Uh-huh.
When you structure, you can do dimensioning. So you can lay down multiple constraints on your future solutions. And it's not that important in software projects or startup projects, because in software, if you have constraint, you can get over it with more money. Yeah, you can buy more computations, better servers, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
In hardware, it's not that simple because constraints are very hard. Yeah, hardware. So you need to have them in mind during project execution. And after structuring, sprints start. But the difference compared to Scrum, for example, is that in Scrum you have one cadence. You have sprints of the same duration throughout the project. Yeah, for example, 1 week sprints. So everyone is how to say it, synchronized every Friday to deliver something, then to replan the project, and then to again do new tasks. In exploratory projects, you don't have this comfort because every component, every thread will go in their own speed.
Yeah.
If, for example, you do the software, you can have 2-day sprints. If you collect information from hospitals because you're the medicine project, you need to wait for a month for patients to fill questionnaires, to wait, for example, and to observe if a drug works or not. So you need longer period of time. If you make hardware, sometimes you need to wait for delivery of something from China. Yeah. That's
correct.
So if you change anything in software, you can update your program within an hour. If you change something in hardware, sometimes you need to wait another 2 weeks, yes, to deliver adjusted component.
That's the bullet point number 2. Because that's
so pace of exploratory project is very variable. The problem is synchronizing between different threads, and this is the role of the leader to observe every thread and see if there is any block on a thread. For example, hardware doesn't match software, or one piece of hardware doesn't match another piece of hardware. Yeah? And then we have this pivot point. Yeah, you asked when they appear. So there is a problem of synchronization of efforts during such a project. Because some things may be done very, very quickly and other things need to wait. And you cannot swap people between different skills because they are specialists in their areas only.
Sure.
So you cannot help hardware specialists sending software specialists to him to quicker design something. Yeah? So this is one of the biggest challenges, to coordinate and synchronize effort in exploratory projects. And then usually, if exploratory project is a success, you slowly transfer from exploratory activities, from discovering something to producing something. Sometimes it's a gate, so you stop the project, make a decision, analyze, conduct retrospective, for example, analyze if it's if it's fruitful, and then start another traditional project. And sometimes it is, to say it, fuzzy and more fuzzy.
Okay.
When exploring steps starts to mingle with production steps. Yeah? The more you know, more you can just produce, manufacture.
The more you can optimize as well.
Yeah, and of course. And what I want to say, optimization is enemy of innovation.
Yeah, but
Usually,
I wanted to say that if you finish the exploratory project, you usually have
yeah, I understand.
a rough, not the rough, but pretty defined form, idea.
Prototype.
How does this device or technology finally work? Because you thought that something might work, but you've got only in your mind recalling
Yeah, and now you have working prototype. Yeah,
recalling this worthless idea, and now you've got the working prototype, but it's highly not optimal in terms of
Yes, you're
manufacturing
right.
costs, probably the code inside, because the code is written in a manner of iterations. It's not planned, it's rather patched.
Yes, it's called spaghetti code.
Yeah, it's called spaghetti code. You probably don't have any documentation on that. Like if you want to manufacture from this prototype, you will probably finish with too expensive, not working enough, not working good product that is not possible to sell because no one understands why the complication is needed. You have to optimize it. And this optimization I had in my mind, not the optimization in the process of innovation, because I totally agree that it brings the innovation down to zero.
Yes, and I have read some articles saying that, for example, Six Sigma decreased innovation level in some companies because it stabilized the production process. And for breakthroughs, you need to destabilize it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So exploratory projects can be either terminated with the decision to stop discovering, start manufacturing, or can be mixed for some time with production activities, and then in a fuzzy way be transferred to traditional project management. Yeah? In bigger corporations, for example, they have one team for innovations and for delivering prototypes of something. I don't know, piece of hardware like in innovation industry, or new service like in a retail bank. And then, if it's proved to be working, to be feasible, the first stage, the first project is stopped, and then another team is constituted, set up, and another project is initiated in a more traditional way, maybe waterfall, maybe agile, but more traditional way. Yeah.
Cool. This brings me an example. I cannot what client is that, but we tend to say in a team of engineers, embedded engineers, all the guys that are working on a product, that we love clients that already failed with their first iteration of a product.
Yeah.
Because it's not the fail that is the most important, because we don't want people to fail, of course, but
they are humble.
They are humble. They know what they don't want to do anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they bring, this is the thing that you are talking about. You can run a project in a more traditional way when you already know something that you have physically, in hardware terms, to deliver and not to deliver, because you know what mistakes you've already made. So this approach brings us investors or clients that had this pain already in their heads, like this doesn't work the way I wanted it to work, and now I know what I want and I can describe it perfectly clearly. What do you need to make? So
yeah, and another thing is missing opportunities. If you have strong vision and you are self-confident that it will sell, it will work, it will do the job.
Mm-hmm.
You close eyes for new opportunities that will arise in the meantime, yes, while learning about this area, because we are focused on your initial vision. So if you have very strong vision, don't start discoveries, because it's pointless. You believe in it, okay, do your job, maybe you will win. But if you are humble, if you are not sure if you are right, you have a lot of question marks and not so many answers, discovery approach is the best one.
Cool. So the next question I had was, what is a good requirement? But I wanted to modify it a little bit. Is it worth to take time on finding or perfecting the good requirement term in terms of discovery projects? Or should we talk about requirements after discovering that we know what we want to build? What do you think about it?
We need to have some requirements before experiments, because we need to know what experience we want to do. Yes, so we need to have assumptions, hypothesis, and hypothesis is a requirement. We assume that it's true. Yeah, so we believe that it will work this way, and now let's check it out. But we need to have initial idea of what we believe in. Yeah.
Okay, but the difference
the difference is that hypotheses are on lower probability level.
So
Are not that.
So maybe the difference is that if you've got a well-defined requirement, you have to fulfill that. But if you have a hypothesis, you have to have in your mind that that the answer might be not as you expect it to be.
Exactly. So when you have strict goal, or to be more specific, requirement, the first thought is how to deliver it. When you have hypothesis, the first thought is how to prove it or disprove it. Yes.
Okay.
What kind of experiment I need to conduct to gain knowledge about it? Yeah. Not try to manufacture it, but test it first.
This is the thing number one in projects that are from Polish venture or national venture capitals that they define the scientific approach, but require from you that you already know the answer. What will be the answer to the problem that you've stated?
You mean Polish DARPA?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have met this opinion from multiple teams. Yeah, they expect you that you'll forecast what will be the final result of your future experiments.
Yeah,
I know.
I wanted to mention that simply, just to make it loud.
Yeah, and I have read about DARPA. I read a book written by ex-director of DARPA, who pointed out how to control from strategic level such investments. He didn't tell in his book. It's called Spiral Method or something like this. Barry Boehm, it's the author.
Okay.
He told that he didn't tell how to coordinate such projects, but he focused on how to supervise them and how to monitor them in order to make decision whether to finance them with more money or stop investment. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's interesting, and our DARPA, our Polish DARPA, could learn from it.
So the spiral method, just to make an example, is that you give less money, but you don't expect spectacular results, but you want
expect knowledge
to have some progress. The knowledge,
exactly.
If it's
and then
worth
with
investing.
With every turn, you make decision whether to invest more and to involve more stakeholders, because there is a political environment as well, or make another turn to get more profound, more reliable results, because you can redo last turn, or cancel the investment. Yeah? And you invest in turns. So this is why it's called spiral, until you have matured technology, which can be transferred for manufacturing.
Cool. Sure.
We have our scientists do follow, for example, technological readiness level, but with a strange assumption that you know final results of future experiments. So it's awkward.
Dear listeners, listen to that advice. Learn from the best ones. Not do your own strategies on financing the innovative projects, because they won't be innovative as you expect them to be.
Do you believe that employees of our Polish DARPA will listen to it?
I have the hope.
Okay, so Barry Boehm, dear employees,
I have the
spiral
hope.
model.
You have to have the hope. But I'm not a huge believer still, unfortunately.
Okay.
Sure. So we've got two things more to cover, because when speaking of projects, when speaking of delivering something new, there is not only the team that is making the product happen, or the technology or anything, especially physical, but the term is called knowledge asymmetry. We are working in bigger environments, because we've got investors, we've got business people, we've got clients that simply don't understand the product unless they use this product. Do you know what might be the remedy for the knowledge asymmetry? How to define, firstly, how to define knowledge asymmetry, and then
Okay.
what might be the approaches to fill the gap between different team members, that we push the project forward, not without misunderstandings.
Okay, so knowledge asymmetry is the situation when one side knows something that the other side doesn't know, and opposite. And the more uncertain project is, the bigger asymmetry is. We have met this asymmetry in Agile project. This is the reason why Agile appeared, one of the reasons. Another one was shorter time to market period. And we have met it in Agile projects when user knows what he expects from the solution on the business level, but doesn't know how technology works. And technology team knows how to deliver technology, but doesn't know the business. In exploratory projects, the situation is even worse, because sometimes the team doesn't know how technology works and need to discover it before we'll deliver prototype of a solution to the customer. So the team sometimes promises that they will research this technology if it's feasible for the problem, and they can tell that we believe that this technology will suit your need, dear customer. Customer doesn't understand technology and must trust the team that they will their opinion is reliable. So the first typical solution is trust.
Okay.
Customer must trust that this is the best way to achieve the benefit, to hire a team of skilled specialists, experts, pay them, and wait for the result. If we do not have trust, we have a problem. One way of dealing with lack of trust, especially in the beginning, is do something small.
Okay.
We do a small step, then pilot one small experiment to show that our method works, and to show that we have skills to explore this carte blanche, blanca carta, I don't know how to say.
Tabula rasa.
Tabula rasa. Okay, in Latin, let it be. And we need to show that we know how to explore this tabula rasa to the customer, to the business. If business trusts us, okay, this is the best way to achieve result, will give us more money, and then we show them more insights, more innovation, and so on. Currently, for example, I can see some big finance corporations establishing innovation departments in the area of artificial intelligence.
Okay.
Finance corporations are very conservative because they need to be secure, they have multiple regulations, so on. And AI is opposite to it, because we don't know how it gives us results. We are surprised, and we cannot trace from input data to the output result.
Yeah, there's that black box, and
it's
not
a kind of black box.
deterministic. Yeah,
exactly. So it is deterministic, but it's a bit chaotic or complex. So they the boards of such companies, let them do something small in non-strategic area. They prove that their method works. Then they let them do something bigger in more strategic area, and step by step they gain trust. Yeah,
I can see some similarities to spiral method from DARPA.
No, yeah, it's less formal, but the same philosophy. Another approach I have met was done by one branding agency, which tells customer that if you want to cooperate with us, you need to put the money on the table, and it should be at least I don't know 1 million or something like this. If it's less, it's pointless to even start the project, because we don't know what will be the final cost of the result, but we need to have some margin, to explore, to follow different directions. So at first you need to put enough money on the table.
But does this solve the knowledge asymmetry?
No, but it's solved the problem of trust. If someone doesn't trust, the cooperation is ended at that moment.
Okay, so this is the remedy for the lack
it's
of
a
trust.
remedy. Yeah.
Okay.
And then let me finish. They tell that, okay, if you don't trust us, because it's a big investment, we can share profits. We can get paid. Part of our compensation can be from a success fee.
Okay.
Yes. If the product is a success, we will participate in it, but you can trust us, but we will be motivated to do our best. Yeah. So there's a problem, and I think that another example to explain it, because it's difficult for me to explain in Polish, so it's even more difficult in English. Okay. Another example. I know one company from finance sector, let's say, which tried to build innovation bubble on the strategic level. A group of creators who discover new ideas for products, services, technology, and then move this company forward. But the problem was that there were so many ongoing tasks, current tasks to be done by those people, that they didn't have enough time to start innovating. And when I asked the board why you don't give more time, they told me that those current tasks will give very reliable result, very certain result now, maybe smaller but certain. And those innovative tasks, creative tasks, can bring a breakthrough, but the certainty level is very, very lower. So as a result, after a year, the whole innovation bubble was cancelled, closed, and they get back to the beginning of this process. Yes, they again doesn't have any innovation team, and they are doing their current products, current development without experimenting, without exploration. So I don't have any tool which will solve the problem of trust, apart from knowing that we have no other option but to do innovations, because otherwise we'll cease to exist. And if we have no alternative for innovating, we'll do it. And this is why startups are so great in innovations, because they have no other option. They have to innovate, because otherwise, why do startup? Yeah,
because innovation is their main product.
Yes, exactly, the only product. Yeah, because they didn't exist a year ago. Christiansen described another problem with exploration and innovation from the other perspective, because he researched dozens of years ago research companies which were innovative at the beginning and then stopped innovating and were took over by their competition. And the competition again was innovative at the beginning and then stopped being innovative after getting to a certain level and were overcome by their competition.
Okay.
He created a kind of theory, a model,
Mhm.
which describes that companies which gain profits from current products, are less eager to start innovating because this innovation can consume their previous products. Yes,
Mhm.
so they will be avoiding breakthroughs in order not to decrease results in short term. Innovations will probably this is the problem, probably will improve results in long term, but in short term
Mhm.
can decrease them. Yes, less optimized products, consuming our current offer, and so on. So this is another problem with this asymmetry of knowledge. We are
Mhm.
sure what will happen tomorrow, but what will happen tomorrow will not make us innovative in a year. Yeah?
Yeah. So
So we have to guess.
strategy versus tactics always appears even
Yes,
in our
it's a matter of
projects.
time perspective.
Yeah.
So if we have an owner who have very long-term vision about his company, we can expect him to innovate and to bring creative ideas and to demand innovativeness from his subordinates.
Mhm.
If we have board of directors hired for next 3 years, they want to deliver maximum value within 3 years. Yeah, and that's it, because they don't know what will happen later. Yeah?
That's true. That's
So
true.
it doesn't answer, I know, your question, but I try to explain the problem in a broader context and to show you limitations. So if you overcome those limitations, you can deal with asymmetry of knowledge and willing to experiment.
Sure. Of course, I didn't expect the straight answer because I know that there isn't one possible solution or answer to this question. But one thing is important, and I want to emphasize that um, trust and communication between team members is crucial, no matter what the project is. Uh, you simply have to trust the people you work with, and especially between clients and the team that is taking the money from the client to
Yeah,
deliver.
and another aspect of trust is that security, sense of security among team members, is critical for their creativity. If you feel
Yes.
insecure, if you feel that someone will tell you, "What are you doing? Why do you broke this?" or "Why you waste my money on such strange ideas?" You will stop creating new ideas. It's reasonable. Huh?
Yes.
So dozens of research papers prove that security feelings, how people feel secure, impacts creativity level. And another thing is, if you feel support from your organization on experimenting, on wasting sometimes some resources,
Hmm.
you'll try to do something new out of the box. If you don't feel it, you will try to avoid threats. Yeah?
Okay. So treat money as a safety factor, not an optimized expense.
No, no. You have to invest money to get on different level.
Yes.
If you are not ready for investing money, okay, stay in your industry, in your sector, with your offers, with your technology, and we'll see what happens. If you
Hmm.
are in a very competitive and innovative sector, will have problem. If you are a country level monopoly, it's okay.
For the moment.
For the moment.
Sure. Well, one more thing: documentation in such projects, because we know about knowledge asymmetry. We know that we have to fulfill it some way, the first thing that comes to mind is documenting the thing, explaining what we are doing, what we are,
The results.
what are the results, what are the results in time, what is the chronology of the work that we've done so far. You can spend two more, or you can delegate 2 more people just to make this kind of documentation. But is it worth it?
Yes, it is. And there is a problem, another problem. Knowledge management, broadly speaking, doesn't work. I have spent a couple of years, 20 years ago, researching the topic, and sad conclusion was that it doesn't work generally. But you can make it work by decreasing cost of finding knowledge and decreasing cost of creating knowledge. And luckily, for last 12 months, we experienced huge development of technologies like LLMs, which can help us in this endeavor, which can help us, for example, in semantic search, in automatic document creation, and so on. So one of key points of innovative strategy of a company is to collect as much knowledge as the company can from experience of people, and publish it, distribute it to new projects, to new teams. And I know, for example, some chemistry sector corporations which which manage electronic laboratory notebooks, where they document every experiment, where they document their conclusions, and then they have a habit of searching this knowledge base before they start another experiment. Currently, I have even conducted a test, a proof of concept of such a tool. We have a technology as a human beings, we have a technology which allows us to chat with our own documentation and our own conclusions. And if we supplied this knowledge base with enough information, we can, before another project, ask, for example, what risks do you see in this endeavor?
Okay.
Did we do something similar before with this technology? What were conclusions? And we can discuss it with your own knowledge base. Another thing on psychological level is that people are afraid of asking questions. People not, in my opinion, it's subjective, but in my humble opinion, people are not reluctant on giving answers. If you are asked, you are a good example. When I was preparing for the book, we didn't know of each other. I just contacted you on LinkedIn and asked if you want to talk to me for an hour. And we spent, I think, 3 or 4 hours discussing on multiple meetings, discussing these topics. Why? You didn't know me. Yes, I asked. I had the benefit extracting your knowledge as much as I could. But what benefit did you expect from this conversation? I don't know, but you did it. Yeah. So it's not that hard to answer a question, and people are rather how to say, want to give answers, especially if their colleagues are asking those questions. But people are afraid of asking a question. I give you another example. I was in this.
I think that you show your not the wrong side, but the weak side. When you are asking questions, you show someone that you don't know something, and if you are asked to answer the questions, you can be perceived as an expert, even though you might not be. So maybe
yes,
this is
there's
the
a social cost regarding asking someone something. Yeah. Yes, you're right. So what can we do is to encourage people to ask questions. Yeah. And
Sure.
for example, leader can stop the project every week, every Friday. I did it with my startups. I was working for an investment fund a couple of years ago,
Hmm.
and we came up with ideas for new startups, and then we tested them on multiple experiments. I had about 8 coordinators of those startups doing totally different things, from legal tech startup to social media. And I asked them to meet and ask questions, and they told me that we have nothing in common, so why we should do it? It's a waste of time. And
Hmm.
then I ordered them autocratic way. I ordered them, no, we'll meet, and everyone will at least describe what happened last week.
Okay.
And then dozens of questions arose, because, for example, they were doing different experiments and in different businesses, but they were using the same AdWords, Google AdWords.
Hmm.
They were using the same Salesforce CRM system. They were collecting samples for their experiments. And this was the same, this was similar for various businesses. So, and suddenly, when they realized that their colleagues have attractive, useful knowledge, they started communicating with each other directly. Yeah?
Cool. So this means that you've got to have that documentation as broad as possible, but you've got to have the opportunity to extract this knowledge.
Exactly, and ask more questions. Yes, following
Okay.
questions after reading the documentation. So, if an expert wrote something 2 years ago, I read it,
Uh-huh.
I learned from it, and then I want to get to this expert and ask him, listen, I don't understand this sentence. Could you explain it further? Yes, or do you know anything more about it?
Hmm. I know that you've got the PhD in knowledge management,
Yeah.
and you came with some unfortunately sad conclusions after your PhD that the knowledge management simply doesn't work. And
Yes.
now I can hear in the tone of your voice, and
I'm more
especially
optimistic.
yes, especially in terms of the tool that you returned to developing to.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to mention that because it's your idea. So if you want, please do. But I know that you saw some opportunities in current large language models, and that's cool. That's pretty cool that we are finally possibly able to put the knowledge in the system and
Mhm.
start to take benefits from that.
Yeah, we can establish a kind of electronic mentor, which is trained on our specific company knowledge,
Hmm.
which can guide us to certain directions if the expert is absent. Yeah,
Hmm.
or
That's
librarian,
that
electronic
sounds pretty
librarian.
cool. Unfortunately, I've got one thing to add because we were talking about the technical drawings. We were talking about something
Mm-hmm.
more
Remember.
not of a text, because language models are pretty good at text. They are pretty bad at design intent in terms of how to describe a mug, at how why does it look like this? Why
Mm-hmm.
does it work like this? How
Mm-hmm. For
to
what purpose? Yeah.
how to set up measurements, how to set up tolerances, and all the different factors. And unfortunately, this knowledge is still hidden, uh, and that's a problem. So my answer to making the documentation in projects is, of course, also yes. Please do make documentation, but take that into consideration that it takes time. It's not only putting all the things that you have on your download folder during the research phase in the project, but it's also something that you have to spend time on and put uh, in in a manner uh, in a conscious manner that you know what you are getting there. And now the challenge is how the system will know what you are putting, because it's not words, it's not language, it's a picture, it's a drawing.
Observing the development of multimodal LLMs, which can generate a picture from prompt or can interpret picture and give you text explanation of what it is, makes me hopeful that this technology will develop soon, and it will give better results within months or years. It's a matter of adjusting, improving algorithms, and increasing information base, which is trained this model on. So I think that it will improve soon.
Sure.
So we don't have, for example, intent in textual data we provide in the prompt. We have just text.
Yes.
But we can interpret answer from LLM and its intent from the context and from the text it provided. So because they are good enough for this, for our interpretation.
Yes.
I believe that if we train those models on drawings, and there are some tries currently, some experiments currently conducted, we'll finally reach this point where some 3D drawings can be created based on prompt and adjusted and evaluated by LLMs or other algorithms.
Yeah. So let's meet in a year and we'll see where are we now.
Of course.
Where are we then? Cool.
Yeah, I'm very curious.
I think that we've got it. The key takeaways for me are preparing well for the project. Even if you've got some rough idea, just build something yourself, even if it's rude, even if it's not working, but you can show the idea to the people. Then you can start discovering how to make it happen. Build trust, save money, because innovation costs.
And one thing more
is
work in supportive organization.
And work in supportive organization.
Other research shows that you need support from your organization, from the level of strategic from the strategic level, through your direct leader, through your team. And Amabil, her name was Amabil, I think, provided a framework. And then I found dozens of research papers supporting it, that your leader must support you on multiple ways. I don't think we have time to explain how many ways can leaders support doing innovation. For example, what may be surprising for you, leader should demand creativity from the employees and should reward and punish for not being innovative or being innovative, because it will increase innovativeness level. It doesn't work this way, that, okay, guys, you have time, you have money, do something, let's meet in 6 months. No, you need to make a pressure on innovation. And this is why you need a transformative leader. From organizational level, you need to provide resources and positive culture, building, for example, security feeling among team members. And from team members, you expect skills and great atmosphere. People want to involve in teams because they want to work with people they like and they admire.
Yeah, that's why exploratory projects are perceived as world-changing projects, because people that work in this environment usually have this mindset, like, I want to change something in this world.
Yes. And I accept that I work in very uncertain conditions.
Sure.
If I want certain conditions, I would become, for example, accountant. Yeah. If I accept, it's not bad.
They may be mad at you.
Will take over.
Polish accountants may be mad at you if
creative.
you are saying that it's
you're
not
right.
a changing environment for them.
It's a special environment, yeah.
But
normally, in normal countries,
it's more established.
Yeah, being a scientist, working in startup, testing new technologies is not for everyone. You need to have special mindset, special attitudes, accepting uncertainty, being curious, being intelligent above average. It's not good point because you are born with your intelligence level, but research shows that intelligence is correlated with being creative. You have to have good memory, because if you remember a lot, it's easier for you to come up with new creative idea. And there are a lot of factors which can be provided by the organization, team, and leader, and a lot of factors which are inside you and cannot be changed. You were born with it. So you should recruit for innovation, not train for innovation.
Cool. That's the cool conclusion. And this brings me an idea to talk about the teams, the leadership, and anything related to people that are involved in innovation processes rather than the innovation or projects, rather than about the project itself. But maybe it's a topic for another day.
Okay.
Marcin, thank you very much for the talk.
Thank you very much for the meeting.